One book July. One notebook in July. Is it a cop-out or a fantastic innovation? Hey there, it's Grace. Welcome back. Welcome if you are new. Thank you for being here for another Grace video. It's been a busy few weeks and I realized that I never came back with an update on how my One Book July went. And that's because right after the PNW Pen Show in July, I started getting ready for our family's upcoming first family reunion. Oh my God, that sounds so good to say. I'm back now, obviously, and I want to go over my thoughts on what it was like. Did I actually like using only one notebook? And I think the bigger question is, what will I do going forward? All the deets are coming up. First, why I change things up now, and then later I'll go over how successful it was for each section I chose to include. So, why One Book July right now? I mentioned it in my 6-month journal update I previously recorded. I'll leave a link for that in the video, in the description, and in the cards. Do people still even click on cards anymore? Sometimes if someone says they have a card, I'm going to click on it, but do you still click on a card if someone puts it in the video? Just a thought. Anyway, the overarching reason for doing this experiment, let's just say I had two main reasons. One was because I was bored. Truth be told, I was bored. I realize that now, after the fact, that I didn't enjoy the shuffle back and forth. I'll tell you more about that later. Now, don't get me wrong. I love using a myriad of notebooks for different things, for planning, not so much. This year, I incorporated a few new things, like habit tracking, and I love habit tracking. I just didn't remember to track. So there is that. And the second reason for this experiment now is that I had watched for years and years and years bullet journals, planners, notebook aficionados do One Book July every year. And I was intrigued by the concept of just one notebook. And one thing I can say up front without kind of giving away the plot is I actually missed writing in my TN planner. I just absolutely missed writing in it. I did not, however, miss carrying around all the notebooks. So there is that. I have some final thoughts on that I'll share at the end. So stick around. It's stuff you might want to take heed. I don't know, maybe you do, maybe you don't. Anyway, let's get to all the thoughts I have now that I've done my first One Book July. Before I forget, especially if you enjoy this video, don't forget to hit that like button because, you know, we need to let people know. We need to let people know. It makes sense to share with you a quick review of what I started 2025 with. My Sterling B6 undated common planner. This was the undated, right? Yeah, this was the undated. This was my journal that I used. And then these two were my Swatch journals, or Swatch notebooks rather. This is my Midori A5 notebook, Swatch notebook, and this is my Midori A6 Swatch series notebook. And these two didn't count in the One Book July because they're both Swatch, really. Swatch notebook, so they really didn't count. The other two do. This is my Sterling Ink Common Planner N1TN notebook. This is the one that I did not use. And then the one that I used, this was the One Book in July that I used. This is my Leuchtturm, what did I call this? My Pen and Ink Commonplace book. I love this. And from all those notebooks you saw just now, I brought over 6 things. I've been making notes about this video and I just didn't know what to say other than they are 6 things. More about that in a minute. I brought over 6 things that I used in July to capture information in this one notebook. And what I brought over was, what I used in this notebook was my brain dump list, a WTM insert, and I have a note about that I will share later, my habit tracker, my monthly calendar, my daily highlights, and the last one was notes. So all of that was contained in here. Now, first up was, this is my brain dump. I write in the top here, week of, the week that I'm doing, and then I brain dump all the things. I have a habit now of, I used to just brain dump maybe 3 things a day, but I make a brain dump list of all the things I want to accomplish, and I put them usually put them on this WTM. Now, I have always done a brain dump, a to-do list of things, and I began writing that in this notebook. This is my pen and ink commonplace book. So I've just done the brain dump in this notebook since the beginning of the year. So I thought, I have to keep that. I have to keep that, because that's just all the things that I need to get done. They have to come here. I know now that digital apps just don't work for me. So I definitely knew that I'd be carrying over this B dump. And as expected, this was a total success. I mean, I've done it quite a few times, obviously, because it's July, all of July. And the thing about writing this list, usually I take stuff from this list. This is the brain dump list. This is not the to-do list. And I put it in a to-do list. And this is what I call the WTM. And I actually used it the first week. But what I found is I needed to make the use of the one book in July, as simple as possible. And having to print, cut out, glue in this WTM. I love this. It's based on the, what is this based on? The future log. I created something based on the bullet journal future log that I use weekly. I love using this, but it didn't work here at all. So in the end, I just ditched it. I didn't use it. And I ended up just going with the brain dump each time and then crossing off, because I usually don't cross off here. This is just the list, and I put everything over here, but I just use the brain dump just one time. The next thing that I brought over for One Book July was the habit tracker. Now, the habit tracker, some of you may already know, this year in particular, I've been trying really, really hard to build a habit of tracking. And I am a data geek. I love all the data all the time. And so this makes sense for my brain. This is my sleep tracker. I got a watch just to track my sleep, because that was like a hit or miss. Well, that's kind of like what was here, isn't it? Look at all the sleep I got there. 8 hours. Look at that. 8.5 hours, 9 hours. And what was that? 3 hours. 3 hours. 3 hours. Who can survive on 3 hours? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I want to know all the things. And so I also did this tracking, which is household duties. I wanted to cover this. I also have you can see, post and YouTube videos that I don't usually track those, but I thought I track them in other ways. I should put them here because it's only one book. Didn't do anything with it. Didn't do a darn thing with it. For the most part, I did keep up with all of this tracking, especially my sleep. I did fill in the last 6 days after I returned from my trip, because during the week that this was happening, I was preparing for a trip, and you can see the sleep I got. It was all over the darn place. This habit tracking worked for July. It worked beautifully for July. I'm getting really good at habit tracking now, y'all. I'm liking this. Next up is my monthly calendar, and I hate the way this works. I hate the way this looks after filling it out. It is just way too messy, and I only realized my mistake after I filled out everything. After I did all of that. What I realized is I created this. This is a piece. Speak, Grace. This is something I created in Canva, and glued it in. And then one of the things I did, for some reason, I created this in Canva. Let's turn it this way so you can actually see. I created this in Canva, but I didn't put any numbers in there. And I'd already printed it. I'm like, I'm not going to print this again. And I found a sticker, a number sticker. So I put all the numbers in. But the numbers there, I don't know why the day 5 and the day 19 were missing. Why day 5 and day 19 were missing? No clue. Anyway, I wrote it in. So I put the numbers in. So there are a couple of things that I'm tracking here, and I think my mistake was I put too much in here, and it's just way too busy, and it really irritates me looking at it. But I need to explain it because you need to see why this was not a success. At the beginning of the week, I've started tracking the weather. I just want to know what weather we have. And I have a stamp. Oh, where's the stamp? Bummer. I forgot the stamp. It is not here. This stamp. I finally got a stamp, but I got this stamp. You can see I got this stamp after, because I got it at the pen show, and I started using it. But I drew in the sun and the moon. The sun and the moon. Okay. We will come back to it. I actually had to stop the video, and I thought, whilst I have to stop the video, let me go and get the stamp. Here is the stamp. So what I have here is I didn't get the stamp until much later, and then I drew in the clouds and I'm like, that's ridiculous. And so the stamp is used in the latter part of the week. Also, because I was only using the one book, and I wasn't writing in my journal. I was literally using one book. I decided to write one word about how I was feeling or what that day was about in the center of each. And for the most part, I missed one. Oh, I only missed one. That's interesting. Two. I missed 2 days of tracking it, and that's okay. That's fine by me. That part did not work as well, and that's why I also created. I'm gonna turn this here. That's why I also created this legend here. 1 through 5 was about how I was feeling physically, and that's because I started working with a virtual trainer, and I wanted to track how my body was feeling as I'm, exercising more regularly. Exercising more regularly, as if I did exercise all the time. Let's be real. As I started to exercise, this body was like, what are you trying to do to me? That's what I wanted to track here. But I also wanted to track how I was feeling, my mental state whilst I was doing this exercise. And so that's what these green, purple, orange, blue, and red. Low, meh, calm, cool, solid. That's the rating. And so you can see some of the rating for this week. I didn't put any of my mental state in here. That's interesting. Anyway, as I said, the color dots about my mental state, and the numbers are about my physical state. And for the most part, Lord, I did not do anything here. Wow. Doesn't matter. It does not matter. Truth be told, this space was so crampy and small, it started to irritate me. Even though I kept up with it, I basically kept up with a whole lot of it. It really started to irritate me. It got way too messy, and trying to read it right now it's making me feel a way. So I would classify this particular thing, this particular monthly, as a fail. I try to include way too much information in here. Most of these are spread out like journaling. That's a totally different book, and it's paragraphs. It's not just a word. Too much. I would classify this particular thing as a fail. I really would. Let's just leave it at that. Now, the next thing, remember how I said earlier that I was not officially journaling. I did not journal in my journal, but I did create something that I wanted to take its place, and that was I did something called daily highlights. And instead of writing in a whole page in my journal, in order to satisfy the one book July criteria, I did something I call daily highlights. So I numbered the dates, all from 1 to 31, and then I put the day right next to it, because sometimes I would forget to write of an evening, and I needed to know which day it was instead of having to go and look at my calendar and all that sort of stuff. I actually like this. I actually like reading back on what I'm not giving an F about the fact that that is something. One of those things is kind of like, yeah, okay, that's hilarious. My only complaint about the page was I wish I'd stuck to one pen. These are all the pens I chose for July, and I wish I'd stuck with one pen for the whole thing. I thought maybe just doing it using all the pens, because I wanted to use all the pens, would be good. I'm not liking how that's showing up. It's too busy. Again, just like this, it's a bit busy. This is a bit busy. But the fact that I wrote for 31 days, every day, one thing that brought me joy, one thing. And the criteria for writing in here was 2. One sentence to fit the space. So I couldn't have a paragraph, like a sentence that ran over. One sentence to fit the space, and I didn't gripe. There were no gripes in here at all. So it kind of like a gratitude thing here going on, but not really. It really was just, what is the highlight of this day that I want to remember? And I love the fact that I have this now. I like the idea of doing daily highlights. I might do that in my journal. I just love that idea. The one space for it, that it got to be really crowded, but I'm so glad I continued with it. And the last thing that I brought over was notes. I always did notes. I've done notes. Of course, this is a pen and ink, what do I call this? Commonplace book. So this has all sorts of notes in it. I write a lot. I'm always jotting down thoughts, ideas, quotes, YouTube video notes. When I have a meetup with my pen meetup, I write in here. When I take classes like Skillshare or other learning, I write. There's something in here. Here is what is it this one or another one? Let me see if I can find it, because I thought it was just fantastic how I did that. This here, I watched a video on, is it this one? Yes. Somebody showed how to learn Korean. My daughter wants to live in Korea, and I want to learn Korean before she goes there. So I watched a video took notes on everything that she said in that video. Loved everything she said. And then, what is this one? I have something. Where do I have it? I just saw it. All of this. What is all of this? I don't know what that is. I'll have to look at it more closely. But that's okay. I absolutely love taking notes in this thing. This is such a good idea. Having a commonplace notebook, I've always had a notebook, but not one dedicated to pen and ink. This is all about pen and ink. It's not necessarily all about YouTube. It's about the pen and ink, my pen and ink journey. And I absolutely love having the notes. So I did the notes, and I didn't always do that. So there's another brain dump. And then notes about the pen show that I was doing for the hosting. And then also I've Zentangles, doing Zentangles in here. I did another week of brain dump. And so every week, this is the beginning of the week, and then notes about stuff. Just notes about all sorts of stuff in here. I think this is the coolest thing about this setup is that this, and this were only showcased here. I could just, for the month of July, I came back to these three and wrote, and the rest of the time it was brain dump and basically all sorts of notes, which is what I do anyway. I mean, I generally do that. The habit tracking here, this is in a different notebook. The planner, or all of these different things, there's so much more here than just this calendar. That's in a different notebook. And then the daily highlights, that's journaling, that's in a different notebook. I like the fact that I included these here, and the rest of the time in July, I just got up to writing notes and writing the brain dump. And that was most of what I needed for this one book July. Yeah, that was most of what I needed. By the way, this is a new, I can't find a whole lot of Black women who are not, what shall we say, voluptuous. I don't necessarily want voluptuous Black women. I found a sticker sheet that has really cool Black women. I'm loving it. I think there's another one I used in here. Look at that. Just nice and simple. I don't need all the stuff showing, and yeah, I just need nice and simple. By the way, do you notice what's up with this? It's upside down. The plant is upside down. I did not realize, and that's okay, because that's what it is. That's what it is. Okay, I have some final thoughts, and I won't share them here. I will share them face to face in the camera. All right. Here's the final thoughts. Here are my final thoughts, I should say. Okay, so after all of that, what are my thoughts? What do I think about the One Book July concept? And can it fit into how I operate with the different notebooks I set up to use each year? Now, truth be told, I'm kind of digging it. I really am kind of digging it. So much so that I'm having a rethink on what I want to use and how I need to use it. And it makes sense to do this now because planner companies, makers are starting to roll out their 2026 lineups for 2026 lineups. That's the end of the sentence. One conclusion I've come to after staying in the one book is that I like having one book to use. It contains all that I need to write in and carry about with me. And I think for my own sanity, I need to stay in one book. I didn't realize how having multiple spaces to check messed with me in the 6 months of this year. I didn't realize that. So in terms of planners, I used the Hobonichi Avec in 2023. It was okay. I used the Sterling Ink Basic Common Planner in 2024. I needed to downsize. And then I changed to their undated Common Planner because I realized I didn't need all the date in it in 2025. And I added in 2 additional notebooks, Sterling Ink's N1TN, and then I added in an A5 Lloyd Term 1917 notebook. That one was my pen and ink commonplace book. Perfect. I gotta tell you, this one book July experiment actually helped cement earlier than I was expecting what my 2026 notebook lineup could be. Now notice I said could be, right? Not to spoil the plot, but after taking notes for this review that I've just shared, it started me on my 2026 notebook inquiry. And it helped me go even deeper into what really, really works for me, what I can ditch because I don't need it or I don't use it, and how I want things to go going forward. And as usual, some things will change, some things will remain the same. So stay tuned. Off. Oh. I have to get comfortable. Should I put that light on too? Ooh, get back. Yeah. Need that one. Oh, come on. Okay. Notes. Why are my notes always over there? Do I get the notes? Because I'm comfortable right now. Get the notes. Stop. Alrighty. You know you need the notes. Why are you always never getting the notes? Okay. Now I'm tired. Oh, dang. I need one more thing. I need to put recording outside the room so nobody knocks on the door. Okay. Everybody happy?